Now, I got one more story here. I shared with you the Beinart story. After this, I'm going to get to your phone calls. After the Beinart story is, well, yeah, we learned also that we have just gone into a debt another $1 trillion. That's how much the debt limit was raised, $986 billion. $14 billion shy of $1 trillion. And that'll just take us through whatever till the next continuing resolution, because we don't have a budget. And the Democrats don't want a budget because political reason. They don't want to lock in their agenda, don't want people to see what it is. And with the sequester, remember now, with the sequester spending, discretionary spending has been taken back to 2008 levels, which lowers the baseline. I can't tell you how that frosts them. The baseline is where the guaranteed 5 to 10% annual increases occur without a single vote. The budget, whatever, like 1974, where they instituted a new way of budgeting, baseline budgeting, and they just automatically wrote that every year, every budget line item baseline is elevated 5 to 10%. Whether it's needed or not, regardless how much or how little it was spent in that budget area the year before, automatic increase without a single vote. That's how you get a spending increase called a cut. If the budget baseline says that Health and Human Services is going to go up 8% next year, and in the budget deal, it actually only goes up 4%. They call it a cut. Yet there's 4% brand new money through baseline budgeting. Well, the baseline here, because of the sequester, has been taken to 2008 levels on discretionary spending, and this frosts everybody. And they can't see the stimulus. One of the great things for Obama and the Democrats with the stimulus was that it was going to raise the baseline by whatever that amount, $800 billion. Forever. Once you spend it, the baseline goes up forever. But the sequester took it back prior to. And as long as there are continuing resolutions, you cannot. This is the double-edged sword that the Democrats are faced with. Because they won't do a budget, because they're simply relying on continuing resolutions, it's kind of convoluted. But they can't do anything about the sequester taking the baseline back to 2008 on discretionary spending. All continuing resolutions do is approve the current services budget for the next year. The current services baseline is not part of the continuing resolution, I don't think. Pretty sure. Continuing resolutions do not mean the same money will be spent next year as this year, but that the same level of services will be maintained, which is worse. That means entitlements, pay increases, inflation adjustments, government programs still get their built-in increases based on population growth, but not on the baseline budget. And that's why this raising of the debt limit had to have a specific rider raising government worker salaries next January. In a budget, that would be automatic. It would be part of the baseline. When you go to continuing resolution, the automatic doesn't happen. Everything has to be negotiated and kicked in, but not for a full year. So the continuing resolution locked in the 2012 budget, which included the sequester cut, which took the discretionary spending back to 2008 levels. I know it's kind of hard to follow all these numbers on the radio, but that's why the Democrats and the media are now hell-bent on getting rid of the sequester, because they're stuck. Now, the continuing resolutions, are a detriment in that sense, but on the other hand, they have their positive aspects. That is, they get to redo the budget every number of months, and they don't have to spell out what their agenda items are budget-wise, and they get to constantly have a crisis every 3 or 4 months. Debt limit crisis, government shutdown crisis, And on balance, they think they're winning on this. But they're frustrated they don't have it all. And the sequester has screwed up a lot of things. Now, Ron Fournier used to be the head honcho at AP, now writes for the National Journal. And he says, oh, yeah, no question Obama won. Big whoop. He won. He always does. Big deal. Can Obama lead now? And Fournier is afraid that Obama isn't serious about victory. Fournier is concerned that Obama likes the win for the sake of it as a notch in the belt, but after that, let's go play golf. He really wants Obama to use this victory to do the rest of his agenda, which is what Beinart wrote that is stuck. Beinart wrote Obama's agenda is stuck because the Republicans on policy have had some success here. But Fournier, he writes here, there's already a lack of seriousness in the air. On Tuesday, the president declared immigration reform now to be his top priority after the fiscal crisis. It's a curious choice, given the magnitude of the debt and the durability of the same size of government debate. Does Obama really think immigration's a more serious problem, or is it merely the best political issue for Democrats? Really what he's upset about here? He thinks, and this is where, folks, I'll never forget. I wish I could remember the specific instance. I was listening to a journalist question another journalist, a journalist questioning an analyst. And the assumption in one question, well, of course, now the president must do something about the debt levels. He's got to do something about the debt levels. He's got to do something about the deficit. What do you think the president's policy is going to be? And I'm watching this. I'm in incredulous disbelief. What do you mean? He doesn't care about the debt. He doesn't care about the deficit. He's trying to raise it. It's part of his transformation of the country. He's trying to grow the government, shrink the private sector. The guy, as we said yesterday, considers himself a victim of this country, and it's time this country paid him back. You're a victim if you're a minority, and it's time the country paid you back. This country has victimized way too many. Obama's not concerned with lowering the debt, and that is what bothers Fournier. Fournier apparently is one of these guys who believes that Obama should be and is concerned about the debt. How can anybody think that? He just authored $7 trillion of it. $7 trillion added national debt in less than 5 years with this deal yesterday. So here's one man, $7 trillion of the $17 trillion national debt tied